This is Three Beards Media. Real talk, no filters, no scripts. From sports to culture, we say what others won't. Turn it up, lock in, because it all starts right now. Live from the AKC Andrew Downs Studios and powered by Revelton Distilling Company.
If you want to know where the storm rolls next, you gotta read the clouds over old Midwest. Every yard, every basket, every mat that's worn. You learn to see the future by tracking the storm. We're tracking the storm, watching it form. From Jack Trice's courage to the heroes yet born. Hilton lights shining like lightning in the night. Jack Trice way, glowing in the stadium lights. From the sweat in the barn to the roar in the stands. Every cyclone story's written in the land. Yeah, the path gets clearer with each legend swarm. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Dwayne Crutchfield, pounding turf like rain. Big 8 Saturdays, driving through the pain. 2 years, rushing past 1,000 on the ground. Made the whole conference feel that thunder sound. Then Troy Davis hit the hole like a flash. Back to back 2,000, turn records into ash. Heisman nights, but win or lose that day. The cyclone in his chest never blew away. Seneca rolled out, crowd holding its breath. The run cut like lightning through Texas Red West 112.
Well, talk about a perfect show to have a pinch hitter, right? Ken Anderson, my normal co-host today, wasn't able to join us tonight. He had some other things he had to take care of. So Chris Shipley, the producer and owner and everything for the media, Three Beards Media, has stepped in and said, I'll produce and co-host. He probably knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you called the JV, and I'm not even sure that's JV. I'm fairly unathletic, so I'm just going to sit back and bask in the glow of these guys.
Yeah, man. Well, I tell you, this show is near and dear to me. Being a huge baseball fan and going to a lot of ball games, and then watching Chris Zima pitch and watch John Heath and becoming a neighbor with John Heath down the road, and then I don't know if Mike made it on yet or not, and then just tracking everything with baseball and what's going on, and then the ultimate dropping of the sport in 2001, and Mark Hanrahan and Rob Conway have been nice enough to join us today, kind of on short notice, but just kind of go around the room. Chris, let's start with you. Kind of introduce yourself, and then we'll go to the next.
All right. My name's Chris Zima. I played at Iowa State from 84 to 88. Graduated in 89. Was a teacher for 35 years. Currently retired. Travel baseball coach. I pitched short relief, long relief, a little bit of starting, and just thoroughly enjoyed my time at Iowa State playing baseball. It was a blast.
Awesome. Johnny.
Yeah, John Heath. Grew up in Denver originally. Didn't know what the heck a Cyclone was or Iowa State was, man. I got recruited. First time I've been east of Denver. And first education was in wind chill factor. Found that out in the fall. Played a little bit of outfield in my senior year. And I was there from 82 to 86. Crossed over with Chris Zima a little bit. And kind of proud to say that I've got a daughter right now who's going to graduate this December from there a semester early. So currently living in Minnesota. My baby brother, 7 years younger than me, played linebacker for the Gophers, and he invited me up on a fishing trip, and been here for 30 years.
Awesome.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Mark Hanrahan.
Mark Hanrahan played Iowa State 2000 and 2001. Originally from Norwalk, Iowa, but transferred in from a junior college in Florida. Starting pitcher and closer in 2001. 2000 did a little bit of everything pitching wise. Had the distinction of getting the last win at Cap Tim Field against number 1 Nebraska, and the last pitch ever for Iowa State baseball. Now living back in Norwalk, coaching travel softball, giving pitching lessons, and working for an electrical distributor. So,
excellent. And Rob Conway, are you on? Nope.
Robert, Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
You know what? Hold on.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep.
Rob Conway. I played with Mark both 2000 and 2001. I was a JUCO transfer from California. Lots of JUCO transfers that year in 2000, the fall of '99, out in Northern California. And then I grew up mostly in Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah, I'm here. Busch.
Go ahead, Rob.
State for the 2000-2001 year, and then Mark and I actually played in the same Frontier Baseball League team for a couple of years after Iowa State. So, and then bounced around a little bit and ended up in Arizona. I've been here for almost 20 years now.
Excellent. And is Mike on?
Mike, can you hear us?
Here you
Got him on the stream. There you go.
Yeah, we're going here now. Maybe it's my desk getting it over. How we doing, guys?
Awesome. Mike Busch, you would tell us a little bit about you, what you're doing nowadays, when you got to Iowa State and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, you guys are going in and out here. I'm losing you here in parts of it. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now, Mike.
Yeah, wonderful. Good. What's going on? What's the question?
We're just
a little bit about your background and what brought you to Iowa State.
Well, I'll make it brief. Played football 86 through 89, baseball 87, 88, 89. Fortunate enough to be pretty successful in both. Had a pretty nice pro career in baseball, and then now I'm a financial advisor. Here we go.
Awesome. Well, I know Mike was a freshman when I was a senior, so he played tight end, All-American football and All-American in baseball. So he had as he said, an illustrious career. Talking a little bit about Iowa State baseball. I mean, back then in the Big Eight, I mean, that was two of the top teams in college baseball was Oklahoma State. I remember going to just about every home game. I mean, unless we had practice in the spring, Tom Stoniak and I would be sitting in third base line right behind the third base dugout, the opponent's dugout, drinking at least 4 bottles of Old English 800 and talking as much shit as we possibly could. And we missed very few games. We had another tight end, Dave Benoit. He was from Chicago. He'd come in with a cooler full of old style, just old, Chicago style beer, and came in and we'd sit in the stands and just talk this shit like you can't imagine. So this bullshit, we can't have alcohol at football games along the sidelines. We broke that rule a long time ago, back in the day. So it was an awesome time. We went to damn near every game. It was such a fun environment. I don't know what it was like from the dugout perspective, but we were pretty rowdy on the third base side. I know that was a lot of fun. So.
We could hear you guys.
You must have been one of the yahoos that when Jimmy Wellwander was getting ready to set a stolen base record. I remember back then, man, it was the big boom box. Somebody was sitting down there, and Jimmy would get on first base, or we're in the dugout taking bets on whether he's going to steal on the first or second pitch. It wasn't if, it was planned. And I remember it must have been one y'all, because you sat down there and you turn on that boom box. It was the theme from the Lone Ranger, and it was just blaring. And that poor pitcher was over there going like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? Had to be one of you guys.
It was a great time, man. We had an absolute blast. I remember Oklahoma State came to town. I think it was 87. They were really good. And I cannot think who the pitcher was that beat them like 3-2 on Sunday, I believe it was. Chris Zima, do you remember that game?
Yeah, that'd be me.
That was you.
Yeah, I got both wins. I got both wins in relief in those games.
They were like they had two. We split like 4 games with them that weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
We split with them, and it was just everything went right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were line drives hit all over the field, but they were hit right at people, or somebody would make a great catch. And I remember one play, Brills was playing third, Jeff Brilling, and there was just a ball smoked right at him. He caught it, and Ward was coaching the third base. He just looked at him and boom, threw the ball right down in front of his feet and ran off into the dugout. And it was awesome.
Well, Stoniak and I are going to take some credit for that Sunday win, because we had Incavilla and one other guy off of that team at the cave-in the night before. We were doing shots all night long with those guys. We had some fun, man. That was some good times. Go a little bit. Talk about some of the guys that played on the teams. I know at the time that, there was a lot of guys that went to the major leagues out of Iowa State, and we weren't top of the line, but we had a lot of guys play Major League Baseball coming off of those teams in the middle 80s. And we're going to get to you guys in the 2000s here in just a minute. But
the biggest one I remember is Mike Myers.
Right.
He was from Crystal Lake South, and he was a left-handed pitcher. And I can't tell you where he was drafted, but he, I think, played somewhere between 10 and 15 years for multiple teams. And he was just like a left-handed, kind of like that Milner guy you see for the Cubs now. I don't know if you guys watch the Cubs, but he hung around and just, made a career in the big leagues.
I think he won a World Series ring with the Red Sox in 04.
I think he was. I know he played he went from, I think, Yankees, Red Sox, or Red Sox, Yankees, or something like that, if I remember correctly. And I think there was one time where they asked him to eat up some innings in one of the games, and they kind of credited him for, just eating up all those innings so he could, kind of save all the other pitchers for the later games.
Right.
So he had a great career.
Of course, Mike Busch, he played with the Dodgers. Played in, was in the coaching ranks in Major League Baseball and professional baseball until 2010. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, it's true, Keith. Getting back to Mike, he was a solid pitcher in college, man. He just got it done no matter what day he went out there. And for him to persevere and get that lengthy of a MLB career was fantastic. And for him to change his style and go to a Kenta Colby from the left side and have that success. And I tell you what, as a hitter, we hate that. That ball's not supposed to come from that pitch point, that release point, right? But he did a wonderful job, had a great career. And, fantastic. Congratulations to Mike Myers.
That's awesome.
That was kind of you. You made that transition from a three-quarter guy to a down-under guy.
Yeah, I did that. That was, you want to hear funny stories? Funny stories.
Yeah.
We were doing the Iowa State baseball camp, and I was just putzing around down in the bullpen during, in between sessions. And Mark Halverson just became our pitching coach, and I was just, putzing around throwing sidearm, and he's like, "Get on the mound and do that." And I'm like, okay. And he goes, "You're going to be our closer next year." And I'm like, all right. And that kind of started my closing for about a year and a half. And then Heidi took over, and I went to long relief.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was the sidearm stuff, man. Just do what you can to get on the field. Right.
There's the history of Iowa State baseball was solid. It adds a lot of great players. A lot of guys that, made a career out of it. Look at you guys that have done what you've done. Mark, you talked into, a little bit at the beginning about doing some stuff in baseball. What are you doing like right now? Again, you're doing some pitching things.
So I coach a travel softball team, and then I also work with the facility here in Norwalk, where I give some lessons and work with pitchers, young pitchers, and then some high school and college pitchers as well. So
that's great. And Rob, you've got a pretty successful real estate business down in Arizona. Is that correct?
Yeah. I have a little brokerage down here. I've been doing it now for 15 years. I have 5 kids, no baseball players. So I don't know how that happened. They all got introduced to it, but no one took to it, which is fine. It's, but yeah, so I was just talking with someone yesterday who has 3 kids. 2 are in college playing baseball, and one's just went on a recruiting trip to Long Beach State. And they're like, "You got to get back into coaching. These guys, there's not enough guys who know what they're doing." I was like, you know what? Maybe when my 7-year-old is 16 and driving and not around anymore, I'll get back in it because I do miss it. I watch a ton of baseball. I have a handful of buddies still in the big league coaching ranks right now. So I do miss it. Yeah.
Now, I was doing some little research with you prior to the show, and you made a comment about some maybe a person from Alaska had hit a home run. Was that like the first person from Alaska that hit a home run since you did in college baseball or something? You had that distinction of.
It was. I didn't even. Yeah, I didn't even know this. But a buddy of mine that I played JUCO with sent me an article in the Anchorage. There's an online publication. There's a kid now down from Anchorage at Arizona State, and he hit 2 home runs in a game. And they said it's the first time since how many ever years ago? Were we counting 25 years?
25 years.
That someone from Alaska, someone from Alaska hit 2 home runs in a game. And in a Division I game, and then they did like the total home runs for kids. I had no idea that. I guess I had the most college home runs, and I think I hit 2 home runs in a game twice. Once my senior year and once my junior year. But yeah, so it was interesting to learn about that. But I kind of want to go check out the kid from Arizona State. It's from Anchorage, sure. Probably.
Pretty cool.
Give him a few pointers from Alaskans. It's a rare thing, right? It's just tough to get out of there and actually get good coaching to get out of there. So
sure. Question for you guys. I'm going to start with you, Mark.
All right.
And then I'm going to go to Rob. And then I'm going to go back to the more experienced guys. How's that? When did you find out that Iowa State made the decision to drop baseball?
So we had just played number 10 Oklahoma State, and we had taken 2 out of 3 from them. Nearly swept them. We were on a hot streak, playing really well. And Monday morning, first thing in the morning, we all had voicemails that said, meet at the Jacobson building at like noon or 11 o'clock. If you have class, skip it. So at that time, my first thought was we all went and partied pretty hard after beating Oklahoma State. Like somebody must have gotten in trouble, and they want to ream our asses about it, and so that was my first thought. And then just to kind of, as we filtered in there, it kind of hit that this is probably bigger than that. So we walk in, and Bruce Vanderbilt, who was the AD at the time, just kind of was just pretty quick to the point and just said, we're cutting baseball and men's swimming. It's a budget deficit. There's nothing you can do about it. So it was pretty quick and short. At the time we're like, well, can we raise money, do anything? He's like, no, it's too late. Leading up to that, they had just given Larry Eustace a big contract extension, just given McCarney a big contract extension. They just paid like $400,000 to send a band to the bowl game. So I knew that the budget was pretty tight at that time. And we are getting $15 of meal money on the road. So I knew the budget was pretty tight, but I didn't really expect that to happen, especially after just beating Oklahoma State. We're on a hot streak. We got Iowa the next day. So it was pretty shocking there.
Rob, what was
Mark.
What was the drive of the team like at that time? That had to be, just devastating to you guys.
Yeah. So a little more background in that is when I came in and when Mark and I both came in 2000, it was kind of it was a heavy junior college transfer class at that time. So we came in and we were just at the bottom of the Big 12, and just the mentality of winning was not there. It was just like happy to be there kind of mentality from guys who'd been there for a while. And then guys like Mark and myself and a lot of California JUCO guys they're kind of cut from the same cloth. Like JUCO back then, and probably still now, the coaches are really intense. They want to win. They're like, those guys put their pants on the same way we do. There's no reason we can't hang with. So in 2001, we had changed the assistant staff. Larry was there, but our coach Lyle, was there, but the assistants had basically come in and put us through a lot of mental tests in the fall, like 6 o'clock wake up for a workout that we didn't know about. We'd get pulled out of the bars, the day before. They call on the phone tree, get on the phone tree. We have to go pull people out of the bars. I was never there,
Sure.
but to wake up the next morning and go through some crazy workout, because one of the guys loved Dan Gable, so he was like all about the mental. But they were trying to put us in a put us through some mental hoops to like turn it around, turn the program around, and be like, hey, we can win here, no big deal. So that's the frustrating part too, is that we had started to win and on the road and put on, we were in every game, we weren't just, there and be happy to be there. So, but yeah, it was kind of a shock, we were seniors, so I really felt for the guys who were there that, were sophomores or juniors, and they kind of had to go get scrambling to find a place. And that, I felt really kind of bad for them. But we used it to our advantage. We definitely said, hey, you know what? Screw this. Let's go out and, we got nothing to lose now. Let's go beat up some people. And we did. Like, I think, Mark, we beat, we took 2 out of 3 against Nebraska, and they were number 1 in the nation.
And
The Oklahoma State team. Texas, we beat 2 out of 3. We did some damage against some top-ranked, top 25 teams. So we kind of used it and had some fun with it. And the coaches were a lot looser with letting us kind of do our thing, which was nice, because in the fall that was not the case.
Yeah. It is pretty wild. Like, we take 2 out of 3 from Texas, and, all of our underclassmen are getting recruited as this is going on. So we take 2 out of 3 from Texas, and the Texas coach is talking to our number 1 starter right after the game, and come here next year. And he ends up going there, wins a College World Series with them the next year. So,
yeah,
the transfer portal before the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our shortstop went to Tech. Which I think TJ Bond, he's got a World Series ring with the Phillies. He went to, I think, Bellevue, Nebraska, because he didn't go to school. he didn't have the grades. That guy was a super talent, though.
Yeah, that was another thing, is some guys took it really hard that had eligibility left and, didn't keep up with the academics.
They mailed it in. And they totally mailed it in. Yeah.
So they were up against the wall there too. So.
And Bushy, you were in Ames at that time, right? Or
yeah, 2001, I was helping out. I was going through coming back from injuries to get ready for going into independent ball to try to make a comeback of some sort. So I was helping out early on, getting myself ready, working out with them too. I remember you. I remember you. You were. It was great. We got some good hitting lessons from you. Yeah.
Opposite of what Coach Murph was teaching.
Yeah. Well, whatever it is, I just implemented a little MLB into, the effort of getting better. So that I know it helped you for sure. But I see Alex Espinoza sorry, just real quick. I see Alex Espinoza just chimed in here. So, Alex, if you can hear me, man, I remember one play. Sorry, this is a football thing. I was a freshman. I was a rookie. I had a button route, and Alex had a freaking cannon for an arm. Little button route inside the linebackers, and he fired one at me. I turned around, tried to put my hands up, missed it, and it stuck right in my grill. A true story. I go, man, I got to turn this shit up real quick because this is the big leagues here. Really, back in college, that was a great story. Yeah, Alex, love to hear from you, dude. But
Alex
2000. Yeah, go
Alex
ahead,
was a
Trucks.
great baseball player. He was a freaking amazing shortstop. Amazing.
Oh man, I bet he could have been a closer, man. He
Yeah.
could have threw to 100.
Yeah, he was big. He would have
But
been
anyway, 2000, 2001, I think I heard a question. I was kind of chiming in and out here. When did we know that the program was going to be cut?
Yeah.
We kind of knew. Jerry McNertney, if you remember Jerry, he was a coach when I was playing. And he had some a catcher, and he was a catching bullpen coach for, I think, Boston. Anyway, we found out about that a lot earlier than most people. And who was that AD that came up from? I think it was Okie State, Vandevelde. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, that clown. And he goes, "Yeah, man, it's all about funding. We just don't have the dollars for that." Oh, okay. Jerry and I went out and called all the people we knew. We had $10 million committed to the program to fund it, which at that time, I'm sure that would have covered for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. He had
Okay,
told us
so-
at one point, if we got 8, that would endow the team for like 10 years, he said. And
Yeah,
then he
Mark.
took it back. He took it back like right away.
Yeah, so we had that.
You guys stepped up and did it. So.
Yeah, brother, we had that committed, and we walk in there. We're strutting like Banny Roosters walking into his office, right? Because we got this commitment, and we lay it on his table, and this, that, and the other. And he goes on this spiel that, man, that's wonderful. Let me see what I can do. All this bullshit type stuff, and I'll get back to you. And then all of a sudden, it drops Title IX. That's what it was all about. That we had the funding, not a problem. It was Title IX, and Jerry and I look at each other. This is BS, and I think Iowa State's our oldest sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we had it funded. I mean, baseball's baseball. How can you drop baseball? That doesn't make any sense. I think Colorado and Iowa State's the only 2 teams. Right at the time without baseball, but yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit. We had it covered.
It was kind of funny because in the meeting he said that Title IX was not an issue because I know at the time Iowa State was like 58% male, so Title IX really, we're pretty compliant with it. So for him to then come back and say that just kind of shows how much he talked out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, just. As as a job, as a career for him. So
he was gone shortly after that, wasn't he?
Yeah, right. It was a stopover for him, right? So we already knew that it was all BS what he was trying to do there, and political, whatever you call it. Yeah, we had it saved.
And he had no interest in fundraising. Where Gene Smith was there before, who was a big fundraiser, had a lot of big ideas and big goals. And obviously Jamie is there now as, king fundraiser that the school's ever seen. So, but Bruce had no interest in fundraising at all.
So I'm looking at Bruce. Bruce actually started in 2000 and he lasted till 2005. So one of his first decisions was to cut baseball.
Yeah.
Well, what you guys just described is something I've long said, which is a huge difference between can't and won't.
Yeah.
Can't means it's not physically possible. Just there's no way to get it done. Won't means it just takes a little more work than I'm willing to put into it. And what you guys just described is, well, it's not that we can't, we just won't. And that's the most frustrating part, because I think, Mike, you were the one that was talking about Colorado. Coming from Colorado, playing high school ball there, if I'm not mistaken, it was my senior year of high school when they dropped it, because Bobby Mancuso, if I remember correctly, was at CU. He's a Nebraska kid. He was at CU, and he transferred over to Iowa State when they were given that option. And it's just, Keith, you and I were talking about this. I mean, you're now talking about a school that's a member of what is now one of the 4 power conferences in this country. And in a day and age when there's all this NIL money they're throwing around, and you want to try to tell me it's a funding problem, that's bull. There's no excuse for not having one of the top 4 sports in the United States as part of your program. It's a shame.
I'll add to that, John, too, real quick for you, Keith. Yeah, I think at the time it cost Iowa State $280,000 a season for the program.
That's the number I remember.
Right,
That's
somewhere around there. Not a quote, but so I mean, it was simple, right? And it's a lot of dough, but for a program for a D1 major university, man, that's we had it covered. We had it covered for a long time. So yeah, Vanderbilt was the worst possible thing that Iowa State baseball could have had representative.
I spoke with Kevin Goodman and by the way, part of this show today is dedicated to Goody. Maybe I don't know if you younger guys know him or not, but the dude was all baseball all the time, and he went through some tough stuff, and we're not going to get into that. But the guy loved Iowa State baseball. He had put together. There was a text group, and I'm sure you were on it, Z, where we were talking about how to come up with different funding and different things. And I was on the board at Iowa State for the letter winners thing, and we had a meeting. And I'm pretty sure Mike, you were talking about 10 million. This is, 15 years later, there was $25 million out there, and we were basically told you'd need $100 million just to get baseball going again, because you got to upgrade all the facilities. Plus you got to bring on a ladies sport of equal numbers and all this other stuff. And to your point, John, it wasn't that we couldn't do it. It's just that they didn't want to. I always tell people in my business, I can get this to China tomorrow if I want to. It's just that people didn't want to, and it's a shame, because you're right, Mike. I believe baseball was the oldest and first sport at Iowa State, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you're right. And to restart a program, I think it's virtually impossible.
Yeah.
Moving forward, which is unfortunate. Because and then another thing, Vanderbilt said that northern tier teams can't compete with the southern tier teams, which is absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
you can't, that's not true. 1990, we were in the Big 8 championship, and we had to beat those douchebag Oklahoma State guys twice. And we did it once, but I think if I remember right, whatever. But we competed, and then I think Notre Dame. I don't know if it's Indiana's been great.
Michigan's been great.
Northern tier teams can compete. So, it was all a smoke and mirror thing. And unfortunately, we had to endure that. And there was nothing, absolutely nothing anybody could do to change the minds of the representatives at the top there, which was Vanderbilt or whoever was talking.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting excuse considering Nebraska was the best team in the conference for like 3 years at that time. So
I just did some research. Iowa State won 4 conference championships in 36, 57, 70, and 71, and we're in the College World Series in 1957 and 1970. Pretty scarce for a northern school, if you ask me. Right? Can't compete.
Yeah. BS. That floats really, really quickly to the top. So.
Z, where were you, and what went through your mind when you heard?
Basically, I picked it up like on some kind of news feed. And it was I was just shocked, because I just never thought, you heard stuff about it before, but I just never thought it would happen. And, talking with people, or like when I got into coaching and all that kind of stuff, and they asked, did you play college? And I'm like, yeah, Iowa State, and like, we don't have a team anymore. And people are shocked too, that, Big 8 back then was, there was nothing like the Big 8 conference in all the sports, football, basketball, baseball. And it's like, how can you just abandon a team basically from the Big 8? That was probably, back when I was there, was probably, the premier conference in the land, in my opinion. So it was just utter shock, basically.
Heath, where were you?
Well, it's interesting because, like I said, growing up in Denver and then I lived in Arizona for a few years, and I was so far away that logistically it was difficult to make it back for alumni weekend. And I finally moved up here to the Twin Cities, and I'd gone down. Yeah, I want to say it was in the late '90s, and I'm like, hey, it's a 3.5-hour shot down the road. And at the time, Bobby Randall was still there with Lyle Smith, and so I'm heading down to alumni weekend, and all of a sudden Bobby's gone. I think he went down and took a job at KU, and come to find out later that he must have seen the writing on the wall that Iowa State was ready to pull the plug. And went down, had a great time, and here I am, this neck of the woods, able to be closer and be around, and gone. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, very, very disappointing. And it's funny, Mike, you were talking about northern teams and competing. I remember being a summer after my senior year in high school, a bunch of us dudes from Colorado went to California, played in a tournament in Camarillo. And these guys are laughing and joking about us boys from Colorado just chucking snowballs around. We proceeded to whip their tail, took their trophy, and smiled and went on home. So it's geography doesn't matter. I mean, I think right now, isn't Kansas ranked in the top? I don't know. They're ranked high.
Top 10.
They're exactly Florida or Arizona State,
Yeah, Kansas top 10 right now.
Yeah. So
Ship, how about you, buddy?
Oh man, you know what? I was so kind of out of in 2000 and 2001. I just couldn't believe that we were losing a sport. And funny story is Mike Busch. I've never met you before. Mike Busch is the first guy I remember being somebody that was like an Iowa State athlete who was in the professional ranks, and that made me so proud. And I always remember that he had played football and baseball. And so actually Mike was the first person I thought of when they cut baseball, was because that was the first memory I had of a professional player of anybody going on professionally at Iowa State when I had started there in '88. So it's just a sad thing. And I don't know how much you guys, some of the older guys, are on social media or whatever else, but I can tell you that on Iowa State Twitter and with Iowa State fans, it is still brought up today that this team and this program should be back in here. Everybody misses it. Everybody hates the fact that we don't have baseball. It's just a travesty.
Yeah. I was in Buffalo, New York, and I'll never forget walking into I was selling furniture in Buffalo, New York. And wherever I went, I always talked Iowa State, no matter where, when, how, whatever. And I still do it today. And I walk in, and one of the guys that I work with, he goes, man, I just heard that Iowa State cut their baseball program. And I'm like, I'm thinking he's kidding me. He's the same guy that we put an ad in the newspaper that he was having a garage sale at his place. Everything has to go, including the vet. And we said it started at 6:30 in the morning. So he had people knocking on his door. So I thought he was getting me back with a bad joke, right? And it wasn't. And I'll never forget that day. It still burns me today. And when Chris, I think I reached out to you a couple months ago about doing a show about baseball.
Yep.
And we had a few other things that came in where maybe it was a little bit more timely for what we were doing at that time. And I thought, we're in the middle of May, perfect time to do it. Let's do a baseball show. And then I looked at the date. When did we, 17th, looked at the date of the last game was the 18th. I go, holy shit, this is the 25th anniversary of the last season. And it just, I'm sorry for you guys. I'm sorry for everybody. I mean, it's a bad deal. And it's a really, really, really bad decision that a lot of people made.
Let me ask this question. One of the things that this podcast talks about is loyal sons forever true. And Heath always signs off this show with that, from one loyal son to another. Does it bother you guys, especially Mark and Rob, since your guys' seasons kind of got ended and cut and whatever, but is it harder for you guys to have that full on love for Iowa State after they take that program away, or how do you feel about that?
I'll let you go first, Rob.
I'm the opposite of Annie, I think. I was pretty bitter. I had a hard time, still cheering for Iowa State athletics. Mostly there, like shortly after. I kind of just cut ties, because it was like it felt like I was, betrayed, I guess, of that, having to be able to go back and support and do the alumni things and all that good stuff that comes with, having played, in the Big 12 and at Iowa State. And so, I remember getting the Alumni Association letters for donations and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, right. Like, screw off, and so I was pretty bitter about it. I mean, I've come around now. I follow the athletics, but there's still that part of me that's like a little bitter about it. I mean, I'm not down the road, like Mark. So I know it's a little bit different, for someone like Mark who grew up, there and all that. But yeah, it's too bad. I'd love to go watch Iowa State baseball game at Arizona State now that they're in the Big 12, but I can't.
Right.
Yeah, I think I had a little different experience.
I'm going to speak.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, I was just going to say I had a little
Mark.
different experience because I was here, stayed, relatively local. I did play a little bit of minor league baseball, but I always came back. I still had some school to finish up. So I still had some connection with the athletic programs because I had friends that played basketball and football, still followed those teams. So that kind of kept me a little bit closer than some others. And then living here, and the Letter Winners Club has, done a really good job of keeping people engaged and involved, but being able to go to games and things like that. But there is still that little thing in the back of your, kind of back of your stomach where, when like you get a request for donations and things like that, it's like why would I donate? That's always going to be hard for me, is like I'm not gonna want to donate anytime soon for sure. I'll donate enough to get my tickets if that's needed, but that's about where it ends. But yeah, I like he said, I'd love to go. I take my daughters up to softball games all the time, and they've built a pretty good atmosphere there with the softball team. And it just makes me think, like, had they invested that kind of money into the facilities for baseball, what would it be like now? And it's just a lot of what ifs. But
they moved that field, didn't they, Mark? It used to be
Yeah.
right over that field
Yeah,
wall.
they built a nice little complex there that's kind of right on the road, so you can see it from the road. It's not tucked away like it used to be, and it's a pretty nice little spot.
So they have
It's
a
just
little.
down the road, the towers, right? Where the towers
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
So, can't remember. Oh, just kind of, disenfranchised. Chris, are you feeling that?
Well, you know what? Before the podcast, I kind of just held on to the memories and tried to remember all the good stuff. And like for the last, 3 or 4 years, John and I his son would come up here to play hockey, and we'd meet every, for 3 years, hang out. And it was just like, 30 some odd years ago. But now hearing all this stuff about, and I didn't know about the money that, Mike was talking about, and you had the money, and that kind of is aggravating, yes.
Yeah.
It didn't have to happen, but it was done to us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Mike, you've got the benefit of, both the football side of it and the baseball side. And I don't know how many letter winners come back from the baseball side for events. I know we get on the all sports trophy or the all sports reunion. I know there's 400 or 500 guys that come back for that, guys and gals that come back for that it'd be awesome for you guys to come back. I'd love to see you there. Love to meet with you guys. Heath, it's always good seeing you when I get up to Minnesota and stuff. But, just Mike, you kind of looking at it from two different perspectives. I mean, I don't know how much you stay in contact with the baseball teammates that you had, but if you could kind of share a little bit about that, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, Keith. Yeah, I'm on a thread with all my old baseball buddies, players, teammates. A lot of them are listening tonight, for sure. They were asking for the thread. I gave it to them. Whatever you sent me, I sent to them. Yeah, we are all still coming back. I still have season tickets to football, obviously. They all have a big tailgate again, north of the stadium. So there's a big support still, right? I mean, once you play, especially with what happened with Campbell. I mean, this is a baseball podcast. When he left, if he left because of he didn't have control of NIL money, which I am a big non-believer in. I don't like it. If you do give money, give everybody the same money, fine. I kid around. Yeah, where's our reparations, right? From back then, right?
I always like to ask the question to you guys, like, what would you make in this year's, and what would you make in NIL? Like we have another podcast with Marcus Pfizer, and I always go, what do you think your NIL would be right now?
Right. So, so there's still, Keith, big support on the baseball side from the thread I'm in. And that's from, 87, which I was absolutely horrible baseball player at 87. And then I didn't play 88 to go, new coach come in. I want to be a starting tight end type deal. That worked out wonderful. And then I didn't want to go through spring drills because they were bullshit. So I went back to baseball, talked to Randall. It worked out wonderful, hit 400 or whatever it was. And then, so that was fun. Keith, you'll agree. Spring drills were bullshit. It's just a smash mouth. Anyway,
I came out of two spring drills on number one tight end because number 1, 2, 3, and 4 decided not to take part.
So you know what I mean? Anyway, it worked out wonderful. The formula for me was great, type of deal, whatever. But yeah, wonderful support. The baseball guys, I could name off probably the whole starting staff, roster, in 1990, going into that wonderful, championship, contest. But they're still great supporters. They're tailgating. They're there. I'm kind of, what do I do? Football tailgate, baseball tailgate. I try to break it up and go over there, but football, it was just a little bit different for me because you left your blood and guts on the field. It's more military style, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you give up a lot of yourself for the team, and then memory wise, it's just a little bit different. But man, there were some fun times we had in baseball. I'm not kidding you. But I'm not going to say it on this podcast for sure.
Well, actually, Mike, that's going to be my next question. But we're going to take a break. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and then what I thought I would do, if it's all right, Keith, is I want to ask a question as a fan perspective. Somebody, as I said before, who has no athletic ability whatsoever. So I watch the games. I always love to hear behind the scenes stories, right? What's some great memory that you had, or a fun story, or something that happened in the locker room, or something like that? You can now, what I like to call the statutes of limitations are up, so you can tell the story. So let's we're going to take a break here. We got about 4.5 minutes to get a word from our sponsors. And then when we come back, we'll ask some fun questions.
Buying or selling a home is one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's why choosing the right real estate team matters. The Jenny Farrell team with RE/MAX Concepts has been helping families across the Des Moines metro find the right home since 1998. Born and raised right here in the community, Jenny understands the neighborhoods, the market, and what truly makes a house feel like home. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your space, or preparing to sell, the Jenny Farrell team provides expert guidance every step of the way, from market analysis and listings to negotiations and closing. Their consultative approach means you'll feel confident, informed, and supported throughout the entire process. Jenny Farrell Team, RE/MAX Concepts. Call or text 515-779-7500. Visit jenniferfarrell.remax.com. Experience you can trust. Results you can move into.
In the heart of Des Moines, one name stands above the rest. Step inside, where tradition still matters. Warm, familiar, unmistakably Iowa, where every guest is welcomed like family. Service that's personal and never rushed. Fresh starts made daily. Iowa beef, hand-seasoned. Guided by fire, built on flavor. Served with pride. A bar as bold as the menu. Featuring the old-fashioned we're known for. A place that stays with you long after the night ends. Iowa Beef Steakhouse, 1201 East Euclid Avenue, Des Moines. Steak, done right. Not every animal gets a fair shot, but that's exactly what Animal Lifeline of Iowa is here to change. Since 1986, they've been stepping in for the ones who need it most. Injured, abused, orphaned, and special needs cats and dogs across Iowa. This isn't just a shelter, it's a lifeline. As Central Iowa's only no-kill shelter dedicated to special needs animals, they provide life-saving care, rehabilitation, and the opportunity for every animal to find a forever home, no matter how long it takes. But here's the deal. They can only save as many lives as the community supports. So get involved. Donate online. Hit up the Animal Lifeline thrift store, where every purchase fuels their mission. Or, better yet, find your next best friend and adopt. Because every tail wag, every purr, starts with someone like you. Animal Lifeline of Iowa, where we provide much-needed TLC and a safe space until they find their home.
Freight brokers and shippers, are you tired of drowning in emails, spreadsheets, and endless manual work? Introducing USFX, your AI-powered private freight command center. Simply email your PDF rate confirmation or bill of lading to intake@us-fx.com. In seconds, our AI captures every detail, sets up your shipment, verifies carriers, and launches a live digital workflow. No IT setup, no delays. Build your private carrier network instantly. Send bids only to your trusted partners and watch real-time tracking handle everything from pickup to delivery. Cut the friction, boost your margins, scale with ease. USFX, the smarter way to move freight. Visit us-fex.com today and get your free demo. Start transforming your operation. Let's be honest, pizza is something almost every family enjoys. You're already grabbing one at the store, so why not choose the best tasting pizza that also supports a cause we all care about? That was the challenge behind We Will Pizza. Create the ultimate frozen pizza for Cyclone fans. Big flavor, bold toppings, and options for everyone, including gluten-free choices that don't sacrifice taste. And if you haven't tried it yet, the real MVP? The breakfast pizza. Perfect for early kickoffs, tailgates, or watch parties when Hilton Magic or Jack Trice Energy is calling. Every bite helps benefit Iowa State student athletes, so your game day spread does more than just taste amazing. It gives back. We Will Pizza. Made for Cyclone fans, built for tailgates, and ready whenever you are. We will, you will, Cyclones will.
All right. Little housekeeping here. You saw the ad for the Animal Lifeline of Iowa. Part of what Three Beards Media does a lot of charity and give back. So we always like to play that ad for the Animal Lifeline, and then we present an adoptable of the week. So this week you can adopt Alfie, who's a little 1-year-old deaf dog. She's super sweet, really good with other dogs and other kids. And right now they're running an adult dog adoption special for $50. So this is the only no-kill shelter in Iowa that handles dogs and cats that have special needs. So I just thought we would give you guys a quick update on Alfie, and you can contact the Animal Lifeline or for any of those. They had those puppies in the ad. They're now available for adoption. So there we go. All right. So I asked the question, statutes of limitations are up now. You guys can tell whatever story you want. I don't want to put any pressure on, but Gene Williams, when he was on my show once, told the story of doing naked gassers in the Cyclone Stadium to impress some women. So that's the bar. The bar is set there for you guys. So
I just threw up in my mouth on that
one. First of all, I don't want to see Gene Williams doing naked anything.
I'll tell you what about, there's a guy named Tony Evans, was a 6'4", 6'5", 195-pound pitcher from Missouri, and Tony was a little redneck, and Tony had a way of chirping guys brutally. And I remember one time we were at a Cap Tim Field at home, and it was a non-conference game, and there was a guy in particular who was carrying a little extra weight. And Tony was hitting him with all the fat jokes, man. He says, hey, one player to a uniform. How about you take the cheeseburgers out your back pocket? He was on this guy like a bad rash, so bad that from right field, instead of throwing the ball between innings back to his guy in the first base dugout, he fired the thing into our dugout at Tony. He was just not having it anymore. So now you fast forward a little bit later to where we're down at Missouri, Tony's home state. And again, most hostile environment I ever played in. And we're in the third base dugout. And he'd been running his mouth all day, and the head coach is in the third base box. And one of their kids hits a ball in the gap, tries to stretch it into a double, gets blown up by about 10 feet. And Tony yells out, and he says, hey, man, way to have your head in the game. And this coach, hand to God, without batting an eye, he turned around, looked right at Tony, said, if I had a head like yours, I'd get it circumcised. And I'm telling you, man, that's the best line I ever heard in my life. I looked at Tony like, and he said, yep, I'm done. That was classic. I never forgot that one.
You guys, I tell you, the one thing I missed about the baseball side of things is there's a lot of downtime in between pitches, in between other things going on, and in the dugout. The amount of chatter that goes on in the dugout and the shit that baseball players come up with is second to none. Maybe hockey players might be in that same arena, but you talked about one guy that talks some shit. What was some of your other folks that you ran into, or some of the other players that you ran into that you might have done some things that, as Chris says, the statute of limitations are over with?
So college baseball is pretty notorious for their passing the time and rain delays. Yeah. And we had a rain delay at Nebraska. This would have been junior year. And we're just kind of goofing around. It was a long rain delay. And one of the funniest things that kind of happened in that is they had a left-hand pitcher named Brandon Penas, Penas.
Oh, God.
And they said, like, made up a sign or something. And it said, he comes up to the top of the dugout, turns around and says, like, take a look at our 6-foot penis. And they were like, and then, so we had a guy on our team named Charlie Bigwood. They were like, that's nothing. We got a 6'6" Bigwood. So that was just on the field type stuff. That's a pretty kind of funny story that went on. But there's so many good funny stories. I mean, another one of my favorite, like, somewhat on the field stories involves Rob. Rob got tossed from a game after the game had already ended, and we're already in our locker room because the umpires happened to be walking by our locker room door at the time.
Yeah, no, I got to tell that story because that one came in my. I didn't know you could get thrown out of a game the night before the game. So this is we're at Oklahoma State, at Oklahoma State, and we're in a tight game. Mike Lesh, who played, I think, in the Reds organization for a little bit, or Reds or Indians, one of them, and he was getting squeezed at the end of the game, big time. Like I'm at third base, I'm asking our catcher as loud as possible, like where is that missing? And he's telling me back, he's like, it's not missing. And we're having this conversation. And I look back at the third base coach and I go, man, your buddy is fucking us right now. We are getting fucked right here in front of everybody. And they're going crazy. They are like, it's a bad scene. So we go up in the top of the ninth, we take the lead back. Then in the bottom of the ninth, they walk the bases loaded on, again, getting squeezed. And I'm about to lose it. I am like about to lose my mind. And then their catcher hits a walk-off grand slam, and I'm like, I've never been so hot in my life on the baseball field. So we go in, and at Oklahoma State, the visiting dugout and the clubhouse is behind the dugout, and then the umpire's clubhouse is behind that. So we're walking in the tunnel, and I want a piece of these guys. I'm barking at them the whole time, and just. I'm doing what the managers should have been doing, but they didn't see it that way. So I'm in there and I told them, basically that they're scared of Coach Holiday. You guys you're pussies and everything I could say to them. And I'm just hammering them. And then I pop in our clubhouse and Joe Urban, our first baseman's in there. And it's just me and him. And the umpire, or I go in and I'm punching lockers and I'm going bananas. And I said something that crossed the line, was the last thing I said before I ducked into the clubhouse. The umpire swings the door open. He sees that I'm the only person in there, and he swings it open, and Urban is behind the door. He can't see Urban. Hold on. He can't see Urban, and so he looks at me and says, 1-5, that's it. You're done. You're not playing tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. And then so right as he's leaving, Urban goes, tuck your ears, you fucking rabbit. He tells him to tuck his ears. And then he goes, that's it. 15's done tomorrow. He's not even coming to the park. Don't even bring him. They didn't allow me to go to the field the next day. And then, so I'm at our hotel watching playoff hockey, listening to the game on the radio, and my replacement gets tossed in the second inning for drawing a line in the dirt on a bad call. So he's ejected right away. And I'm sitting there just dying laughing. But that was an interesting one. Never knew. I think I set a record there.
He got kicked out the day before a game. That's
yes. Awesome. Yeah. Didn't know it was possible.
Spencer said, "I'll make sure you get on the show."
I've got I have a ton of those kinds of stories. We have one where we went out in Texas Tech and we walked into a house party, and I'm probably going to get muted here in a second, but we had to hold on. Nonsense right now. Hold on. I'll let someone else take the wheel here.
All right, so we're down in Missouri, and John said that it is a pretty ruckus crowd, and it is. And Halvey, who was our pitching coach, was standing like right on the corner of the dugout, and the first base umpire had made some really shitty calls. So I don't know, Neil Pint and I were just sitting there, and they had like a dugout that went pretty down, down far. So Neil's just sitting there like on the top of the dugout. I'm behind him with two fungos going up and down. And Neil's just going, hey, just ragging at the umpire. And every time he turned, before he turned around, I'd pull him down. And for some reason, he thought Halverson was doing it. So that went on 2, 3, 4 times. And finally, he just turned around at Halverson and he goes, if I hear another word, you're out of here. And Halvey's just like looking like, I ain't saying anything. So Halverson's like looking like, who's doing it? And Neil and I were just like, yeah, it's not us. So we just kind of, sat there and let him take the blame for it. So that was our chirping story.
Were you at Florida the year that LC took infield?
No.
Okay, so we were down in Florida. Well, first of all, Florida had one of those fences in left field that kind of went out and then up a hill a little bit. And I think it was Bob Corbin was out in left field at the time. And there's three dudes, and all you see from the chest up is these guys just ripping on, I mean, brutally ripping on Bobby for like 6 innings. And we're going like, what in the hell is going on? Next thing you know, when the game's, these guys leave, towards the end of the game, and they're out there, they're wheeling out. These guys are paraplegics in a damn wheelchair, all three of them. And they were just trash talking Bobby, and they're sitting upstairs. But that game, for some reason, we were short a catcher, and I don't know why. And so LC jumps in. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if he had Tommy John surgery, but I know he had surgery on his elbow back when he played for the Dodgers. And this dude jumps in, and I hand to God, it was the smoothest infield I've ever seen out of a catcher. And he's throwing BBs around the ball field. And those of us that are not taking IO are just sitting back, jaws dropped. Like, you have got to be kidding me. It was one of the most unbelievable things I'd ever seen. He was probably in his mid to late 30s. And it was just like, I mean, hell, he could have suited up for us. If we'd just got to not had to check his birth certificate, we could have used him that day.
He put on a couple hitting exhibitions in practice once. He had BR was throwing BP, and he just wasn't happy with how BP was going during practice. And he was like, how can you guys not hit the ball over there? So BR was throwing BP, and in mid-flight of the ball, he'd yell out where to hit it and just boof, down the right field line, boom, down the left field line, boom, up the middle, hit the gap. And it was just like he had some skills.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a dude.
Yep.
Well, and speaking of BR, the word on him at his playing days with the Twins up here is that they could never get to him turning 2. They could never take him out on a double play. And we're sitting there, and I'm a freshman, right? And we're out in the grass in the outfield, and we're working on turning 2. We got John Meyer playing second, Bobby Mancuso at short. And we're running hard at BR. We're running hard at these guys. I mean, and they're getting the ball, and they're freaking out, and they're throwing it all over the place. Well, Bobby steps in and says, Jesus, guys, this isn't that hard. And so now he's the guy turning 2. Well, who's up running? Yours truly. And I'm like, all right, I better get after this thing. So I'm running as hard as I can, and I am barreling down on this guy. And I go into my slide, and he don't even have the ball yet. And I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm going to knock my coach into the left field. And I swear to God, he got this ball, and it was like it never touched his hands. Just boom. And he just got that and stepped out of the way. And I thought I'm going to kill him. And he says, well, geez, you at least need to make it a little tough on me. And I'm like, holy cow, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. This is for real baseball here. So
I took the baseball class with BR teaching it, and he was showing us how to turn a double play from the shortstop perspective, and then also from the second base perspective. And the fucker never caught the ball in the glove. I mean, it would just touch his glove. I mean, he was unbelievable. I never seen hands like that. He was catching it on the back of his glove. He was catching it off the heel. I mean, he was an amazing player. I mean, basically, he went to second when Carew went to first base, I believe. It was about that time frame when Rod Carew went over to first for the Twins. I mean,
I once asked him who was the worst guy coming down to second to break up 2. He goes, Dave Winfield. He goes, you can hear him all the way from first base to second just grunting at you. So he had some. The cool thing about playing where we played at Iowa State with LC and BR, they had some really nice rain delay stories and stuff that they would just tell us. It's like, holy cow, what a life they lived playing. So it was pretty cool.
Well, Keith, you were talking about those baseball gym classes.
Yeah.
Now we got Mike on here, football player. Keith, you play football. We're baseball. I'm going to drop a little something on some of our basketball players. We had 3 dudes in the class. Again, I'm a freshman. And I swear to God, these guys are throwing a ball around. They look like Woody from Toy Story. I mean, they're like, and they're trying to catch a ball, swatting at it. And they're all like, 6'5", 6'7", 6'9". I'm like, what in the ass? I go, what the hell is that? And they pointed over at Barry Stevens and said, well, that guy led Big 8 scoring last year. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, he said, yeah, they're all basketball players. Sammy Hill, Raynell Harris, they called him Baby Doc. He looked just like Daryl Dawkins. And I'm like, you know what? I'm pretty sure if we went to State Gym these guys that handle me, but at least I could look like I played the game. And I'll never forget Sammy, who was left-handed. He's like, John, show me how you do that, man. I said, all right, Sam, it's really easy. It's hard to see what I'm doing, but as a right-handed thrower, I'm picking up my left leg, I'm stepping and throwing. And Sammy's just, God, he's focusing on me. He's all intent. He goes, all right, I got it. He's left-handed. He picks up his damn left leg and he throws it. I'm like, Sammy, you're left-handed, brother. You got to do it the other leg. Come on, man. And I'm like, and they went to the Sweet 16 that year, if I'm not mistaken. Like, oh, good Lord.
I mean, the athleticism, what do they say about baseball players? A baseball player can play just about any other sport, but you take a guy from outside of the sport and try to have him hit a baseball, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It's the single hardest thing to do in sports, hitting a baseball. And those that can, I mean, it's incredible what they can do. And
I feel like Mike Busch is awful quiet in this question, and he's the one that said,
"Yeah, no shit."
He's got stories that he can't tell in the pod.
Right? He's got plenty.
Oh, we heard some of them in 2001 for sure. He does have some good ones.
Come on, Busch.
I don't. Hey, man, if you got to inject me into this conversation. So
none of your customers are listening to you right now.
Yeah,
really,
they
it's just us.
And nobody listens to this show, by the way. Nobody listens to this show.
Shrugs, they're always listening. Listen, I'll say, back to BR. Yeah, he used to infielders. He used to make us use a paddle on our glove hand for taking ground balls and soft hands, right? So that's how he did it. That's the magic, and receiving the ball softly and delivering it quickly. That's why John, I think it was John, that's how he received it and delivered it quickly. That's the pro way. Yeah. And then when I moved from first base to third base, I had Chico Rodriguez, a little 5'5" Puerto Rican dude that taught me how to play third base as 6'6" guy. He taught me how to play 5'5", right? Low, quick, and hands. He gave me a glove that barely fit my fingers, and he fired from 20 feet fungo bat balls to me for like 3 hours until I was just absolutely exhausted. That's how he never got hit. Wow. It was a quick release, soft hands release. You know, that was amazing. I didn't really understand that until I got to pro ball and moved to third base. But anyway, as far as stories, yeah. All right, I'm not going to say any names, but we were in frickin' Chicago, which I absolutely hate the Cubs. I'm a Cardinal fan by.
Hey, Mike's got to go off the show now. I got to hang up on Mike.
I absolutely freaking hate the Cubs. So we were in Chicago, and we're sitting there, and it's like the fifth inning, maybe the fourth inning, whatever. And one of the prestige relievers, I'm not going to say his name, he goes, Bushy, we have nothing to fucking do for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Come on, let's go. I said, where we're going? I'm a rookie. Remember, I'm a journeyman. I go, dude, I can't go anywhere. What if I get called? If I'm not here, I'm effed. I'm gone. You're not. He goes, don't worry about that. I got it covered. All right. Somehow he talks me into it because I'm an adventurist, right? We go back in the locker room. He's got these dresses on. Or dresses not on, but so we throw on these dresses real quick, a couple of wigs. We go down these corridors. We get into golf cart or whatever. Go up, go out. We go outside. We go up to the I think it's the right embankment or whatever. Outside, up into the bleachers up outside of the stadium. That's looking onto the
all the rooftops.
Yeah. So we go up there dressed as women. Well, you know, we have wigs on and dresses. He goes, I go, well, what are we fucking doing? What is this even about? Because we can. Oh, and if we get caught, well, that's the excitement. We don't want to get caught. Let's just do it. So we go up there, we just mingle around, and we're up there in the bleachers, and we're not drinking beer or anything like that, but we're just swilling around. And wouldn't you know it, that there's one, so I was probably 25, 26, 27, whatever age at that time. And there's just one old man that's attracted to the reliever. And he starts hitting on him. And and my buddy's just go along with it and all this other bullshit. I go, I'm a rookie, journeyman, whatever. I just kind of peel off to the side, kind of like Shraggy, maybe a rookie party at Gibson's, after hours party at Gibson's house, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a different story for a football side. Anyways, I go, dude. I'm going, man. I got to get back. Just in case, I got to get back. I'm stressed. I'm sweating profusely. I go, let's get the hell out of here. Anyway, that's my only story that I'm going to share tonight on that.
Well, I will tell you that you beat Gene Williams' naked gasser story.
Yeah, again, please don't bring that up again. I can't picture that. I don't want to picture that, Gene Williams.
So I got one more story.
Which was a phenomenal athlete. Phenomenal athlete, by the way.
The last memory of the baseball team kind of together. So at the Big 12 tournament there in Oklahoma City, they had put us in a hotel kind of away from stuff, but there was a strip club right across the street. And it was one of those old kind of motels that has the pool in the middle and the hotel rooms are all around it. And so we get back, and we had gone to the strip club a couple of nights already, and we were getting more meal money that trip too. And we had kind of gotten to know these girls that are working, and we ended up bringing them all back to the hotel to swim in the pool. And like some of our parents were out there and stuff, and they were just like, what is going on? And it was a wild party until very late hours. I think you were there, Mike, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm not going to commit to that.
but yeah, it's just like, it was a great way to kind of go out after losing that game. And we had just beaten Baylor the night before, and we're kind of on a high then. And then just the Oklahoma State game, the last game that we had, it was never a contest. We gave up 10 in the first, and it was over right away. Although I think we got 5 back in the bottom of the first. I think Urban hit a home run, but it was kind of like over, and we kind of saw the writing on the wall, and so we certainly had fun when we got back.
Hey, which one of you two want to tell the story of Incaviglia's home run?
Oh, you mean the one that's still in orbit?
Yeah. Z, were you on that team?
That was my redshirt year. I didn't make the trip down to Oklahoma State.
No, this was in Ames.
Ames.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I know.
Shrugs, that's not farther than my epic home run, right?
Well, yours landed. His hasn't yet.
I thought you were talking about the one he hit at Oklahoma State, and then JR pegged him the next time he came up. I thought that's the one you were talking about.
Jerry Myers?
Yeah. I heard the story. You tell it, because I was at home.
You got to remember, Okie State, that wind blew out 45 miles an hour out to left field every day.
The launching pad.
Yeah, we're down there.
Pad.
It was Ventura was on that team, Jimmy Berrigan, Pete,
right.
And I always remember Ventura being a pretty decent dude. By and large, there were a bunch of jackasses, including Ward.
Completely.
And Pete was a dick. And Jerry Myers was pitching. I think he was a sophomore.
Oh,
he ended up plunking Pete and Billy Argo's behind the plate, another sophomore. And, you know, Pete's like, you know, sticking his chest out and like he's going to take a step towards the mound. I'm like, relax. So he goes down and then he gets knocked, you know, base hit, scores it. Well, Billy Argo's like 2 steps in front of the plate just with his, you know, hand on his hip. There's no play at the plate. And this jackass turns, you know, steps inside home plate and trucks Argo, you know, like Billy did anything. I'm like, oh, you know, now listen, I wouldn't have had to try to hit anybody. I was always as wild as the mountain scenery anyway. I couldn't find a flex with a map and a compass. So just put me in there, and hell, I'd have thrown a ball that would have rolled up and in on him, and we'd have been done. But Zima would have had to try because Chris was dialed in on the strike zone. I'd have been a little easier to plunk somebody.
The home run I'm talking about was against Troy Evers.
Oh.
Yeah.
The recollection on Chris's face is great.
Well, there's that field line, and I swear to God, I think it cleared the trees that are like what?
Yes.
60.
It landed on the roof of the frat house past the trees.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was just over the house that I rented. I know the frat house you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a bomb.
Yeah. I mean, you guys were giving him shit for years. I mean, he still gets it. I was hoping he'd be on the show tonight, but he probably didn't because he knew he'd bring the story up. But Troy was a great pitcher. He was a tremendous pitcher.
He was, yeah. He threw a nasty curveball.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Mark, you were talking about strip clubs. We were down in New Orleans. I think that would have been my senior year.
Oh yeah, I remember this one. Go ahead.
Are you? So we're down on Bourbon Street. Were you there, Chris?
Yeah.
So Eddie Grabelny,
Billy,
who I think Eddie was a walk-off, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're, you know, first of all, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bobby Randall gives us the speech. And hey, fellas, remember you're here representing the university, and you know, keep it together. And we're like, yep, sure. And we get down on Bourbon Street, and you know, we end up in a strip club. And of course, we're right there on front row. And we're college dudes, man. We ain't got money. We're not throwing money around. And this girl comes walking out. And God bless her sweetheart, man. She is trying her best to be as seductive, as sexy as she could be. And as I remember, Z, her thighs looked like somebody hit her with a bag of nickels repeatedly. I mean, it wasn't good.
Wasn't pretty.
And she's sitting there rolling around. Also, she rolls up in front of Ed. She says, if you're not going to tip, why don't you just leave? And without missing a beat, Eddie says, I'll give you a tip. How about you lose 30 pounds? Oh, my God. She got up, kicked the drink in his face, grabbed her clothes, stormed off the stage. And I'm like, shit, here we go. We're all going to jail. We're done. Scholarships are gone. And the manager comes running out, and he's apologizing. He wants to buy us all fresh drinks. I'm like, nope, let's go. We're out. But, yeah, that was kind of a –
yeah.
I mean,
God,
yeah, I'll give you that, right? However, Mark, we did not take him back to the hotel and the pool. That I will tell you. That's pretty – that's next level.
I guess a comical story. We get off the bus in New Orleans, and Halverson goes, pitchers, put your government issues on and go out for a job. And that was the yellow or the gold. And remember the maroon shorts, and you kind of stuck out like a sore thumb because they were very bright. So we're running, and we're just running. We're out, 20 minutes or so into our jog. We just hear, woo, woo, cop car. And we're like, what the hell did we do? He's like, hey, you guys are going the wrong way. Turn around and get out of here. Because, you got 12, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" white guys running into the wrong part of town. So he's like, get out of here.
You're going into the 9th ward.
We were going into the wrong ward. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, tell you what, I think we had a stopwatch. We were supposed to run a half hour out and a half hour back. Right. And I think we made it about 25 minutes like, yeah, we're out.
Yeah. We had no clue.
I think Fagner got hit crossing traffic right out of the gate. We're right downtown. I'm like, Jesus, that wasn't a great move by Halverson, but,
nope.
You can get a lot of trouble out there, that's for sure.
Somehow we survive. Hey, Keith, I want to say one thing, too, before we wrap here if we can. Because I can. You mentioned Goody, and I just want to give a shout out to Goody and the Goodman family. I always refer to Goody as the needle and thread that stitched us together, at least that group from the 80s, right? Mm-hmm. And he did a heck of a job, like a baseball guy through and through, walk on, and great guy. And he's a lot to do with why some of these tailgates have had so much success. So and married a girl that was a Diamond Darling, right? Dana, who was a Diamond Darling with us. So yeah, I just want to shout out to Goody. He's a hell of a guy, and we're sure going to miss him. And a lot of love to the family.
Sure enough. Rob, are you still there?
I think Rob dropped off.
Okay.
Keith, do you want to do your storm anchor amendment?
Yeah, man, where do we go with this one? We got
I think you give everybody a shot and make one
yeah,
rule.
there you go. Well, there's been a lot of things going on in college athletics and professional athletics and other things going on. And we have a little part of this show where you're king for a day. So we're going to take about a 20-second break, and any rule that you guys can think of in college sports that you want to change, it's your time to change it. Think fast, because this is a really quick break.
This is the Storm Anchor Amendment, where our guest steps behind the podium and makes one rule change to reshape college sports. No limits, no red tape, just their decree.
Heath, you're the senior statesman of the group. You get to go first.
Well, I tell you what, I think somebody might have been Mike. Somebody talked about NIL. And I think if it were me, I'm all for doing some revenue sharing with these guys. But to me, this is like pro sports without a salary cap and a contract. And I think I'd go back and I'd certainly revisit that thing and put some fences around that.
There you go. Mr. Zima?
Being an educator, I'd say, pick a school, make sure you want to stay there and get your education. And none of this just flying all over the place. So I guess it bumps in with the they can transfer out anywhere they want every year, whatever the case is. But these guys need to have something to do when their college days are over.
Hear you. Mike Busch.
Yeah, NIL, I love the money. Pay everybody the same. As far as the transfer portal, one time, put it back the way it was. That's the thing. This is BS. Universities pay a lot of money to invest in recruiting. Keep it that way. There's no way that amateur sports should be as profitable as it is. You have a chance to earn money after that. Keep it the way it was.
That's right. Mark?
I think this, when it comes to NIL stuff, the one thing that I would just like to see is more transparency. I think there's so much kind of gray area in people not telling what the actual numbers are. I think if there was transparency, you'd see that a lot of programs aren't spending what you think they are, and then some other programs are spending more than you think they are. And then I think it would level it just by knowing what all everybody else is doing. So,
Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot, Mr. Shipley. You've gotten by me this for the last 4 months, and you've never changed one rule once at all. So you never have an opinion, and you're very soft-spoken about almost.
Yeah, you bet.
I'm going to give you a chance to share the stage.
I think for me, from a fan's perspective, I think there's a happy medium there with the transfer portal. I think you should be able to transfer one time. I think that outside of a coaching change, you're committing to that school. I realize that kids commit to a coach or whatever, but you're committing to that school. And some of these guys that have jumped from school to school to school. And one thing that I've learned by producing this show, and one thing that I'm appreciative of when it comes to this show is I've learned what you guys talk about when you talk about adversity and being in these situations that you were where you weren't getting playing time and you maybe got a terrible coaching change, Keith, in your aspect. And kids nowadays would just up and leave and move to the next opportunity instead of understanding that sometimes that's not how life works. And you got to work your way through it and you got to fight your way through it. And then when you get to that other side, after you fought so hard, how much better and what kind of life lessons you've learned. And I think kids are missing out on that right now. They're not, it's too easy to just make a change. So for me, I think I think you can transfer once. Listen, maybe you made a bad decision, or maybe something isn't right, or you're homesick or whatever. Make a change there, but just changing just to change. That kid that quit the football team this spring because the coach had something to say in public about how he had to work harder, and he just up and quit. Like, what are we doing here? You can't. That kid's never going to succeed in life if there's going to be an easy out every time.
You know, and we've talked about it a number of times. My concern for those kids is they're going to be kids without a home. These kids that 25 guys that left and went to Penn State, how many of them are in their last year? How can you do that? I don't understand how you can leave your teammates. I mean, I was not a good football player, but I was a good teammate. And I was.
Yeah, Keith, you were a good football player, or else you would have been there.
Always there for the team.
But that was a whole different story. And that's a whole different storyline about what happened in our football program.
Yeah.
And I am very disappointed with Pollard and the Campbell situation. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. And we've had a little bit of, we're going to get into it as we get at another, maybe slower time during the summer. We're definitely going to hit on that. But
include me.
Not you're in. You're in. We might even talk about it at the Letter Winners. We're going to do a live show at the Letter Winners golf outing at June 25th. And Bushy, you'll definitely be in the tent with us at that time.
Love it.
So, and, guys, we're kind of coming to the close here. Baseball was always very near and dear to me. It was my favorite sport to play. And I didn't get the opportunity to play it at Iowa State because of the coaching changes and such. I always had a good relationship with a lot of the guys on the baseball team and the football team. And I was also a bartender at the bar. So a lot of the guys came to my end of the bar. I served up a lot of drinks. Not all of them charged, since we're past the statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations
We're
are
going
over.
to talk about the cave-in, are we?
Yeah. Only the cave-in, and always forever the cave-in. For you young guys, that's called SIPs now. But, this show means a lot to me, and the opportunity that Chris has given Kent and I to do this show. That our fight song is Loyal Sons Forever True, and I always end the show this way: from this loyal son to all you guys. I really appreciate you guys.
Good times. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate you guys. Keep a listen to Three Beards Media and the rest of the podcast. We got Side of the Storm coming up later this week. And with that, Keith, from this loyal son to you guys and your loyal sons, appreciate it. Have a great night.
Thank you.
We're tracking the storm, watching it form from crush fields, grind to trophies, 2K storms, Seneca spinning through the rain and roar, turning third and long to forevermore. From Jack's I will to the Campbell years, we build up hope out of heartbreaking tears. Yeah, the line holds strong and the fate's reborn. We're keeping eyes on tomorrow by tracking the storm. Here comes Johnny, your fist up in the air. Tonight's show theme and that Hilton stare. Took a quiet Coliseum, turned it into a spare. With top 25 giants learn to fear this well. Hilton magic swirling like a cyclone wind. We're nine on the pivot, made the rafters spin. Step back, jumper, drive down the lane to